Who, y'all? Let me talk about it. Friday Night Lights, season 5. Y'all, I'm sad that this show is over. Like, I can't believe, like, when I first started watching this show, I just knew, like, wow, like, I gotta tackle watching this because it's 5 seasons. This is the longest it has taken me to watch a show because I have had times where I got frustrated with the show, and then I had times, and it wasn't frustration out of like that the show was bad. It was frustration out of the fact that like the writing on the show was just so good to me that it was so much going on that I did not want to, you know, sometimes it was so much going on I just couldn't watch it because I just couldn't, I just didn't feel like dealing with all them feelings and emotions. But that show was so good. I'm so disappointed to know that it ended at season 5. Everybody got what they wanted. But let me say something. Tammy Taylor is to not be played with. Tammy Taylor is probably one of the best depictions of a wife and a sports wife that I have seen. Seen is the proper word to use. Tammy Taylor was very supportive of Eric. Very supportive of Eric. And she did not play about Eric. But let me tell you something. That lady ain't pulling no punches with Eric. Because Eric, he was a man. But she ain't hold her tongue for Eric. And I like that. And even when he was wrong, she still was there for him. Because a lot of people don't understand that in marriage, y'all ain't gonna get along all the time. Y'all not gonna see eye to eye all the time. It ain't gonna be cute all the time. Is there still love? Yes. Do you necessarily like them all the time? No. But is love still there? Yes. Is love flowing? Yes. And she moved with love and she didn't play about it. And there's one thing that they communication, finances, love, the support of family, their children, the way the family came together. Even when she won't see eye to eye with Eric a couple seasons ago when she was pregnant and she had just had Grace and then he had left to go coach at TMU, love was still there. She even suffered some because of the relationship she had with Eric. And was that the best time? No, it wasn't. But they made it and they got through. And what a lot of people don't realize about relationships, especially in this era that we are in, and I'm saying that like I'm old because, child, I'm not but 31. But, like, people just don't know how to have relationships like that no more. So I just thought that their relationship, even when they might have been hollering sometimes, but, like, you can still tell that, like, they both loved each other. So much had gone on in season 5. I mean, Vince's mama had got clean. Vince's daddy had got out of jail. Tim was in jail. Lila came back. Now, let me tell you something. Speaking of Lila, I ain't think Tim was going to hit the switch up and get back with Tyra. Not on my bingo card. Because him and Tyra had not been together since the first season. Him and Tyra hadn't even spoken since first season. And here I am thinking, we gonna end the season on, Tim getting out. Lila might pop back up. You know what I'm saying? He out of jail. They never really discussed like everything Tim was going through. It just, cause Tim, when Tim got out, he was going through a little bit. But never did I expect Tim to get back with Tyra. Not on my not on my bingo card. And then her telling Tim that she loved him since she was 5. So you and your brother about to have y'all about to be with sisters. That's because that's what it's given. Tim Riggins is fine. Let me just start there. One thing I don't play about, Matt Saracen. Okay, Matt. I love Matt. I love Matt. He proposed to Julie. It was the sweetest thing. What do I agree with them getting engaged at 19? I don't. But I know, like, it happens. Some people get married. It ain't as common now as it was back then. And not even in 2010. I'm saying, like, back then in, like, 80s, maybe 90s. As the world progresses, women are not getting married as early no more. Women are, going to school, starting a career, then getting into a family, type situation. But, I thought I was going to come on here and drag Julie. Because Julie was a brat in season 5. She still was a brat. Julie was, Julie had some indiscretions, okay? She dabbled a little bit in adultery. She got embarrassed at school. It was a whole situation. But I'm glad that she got past that. Two. Season 5 almost had your girl in there in tears. Like, it was 2 times I had to go like this because our child almost started crying. And typically I try to stay away from shows that be having me emotional like that, but it won't like a sadness. You know what I'm saying? Okay, one was sad, but one was happy. But the first time when Matt came home and his grandma was in that rocking chair and her aide was there, and he opened the door and she didn't know who he was. And so he was like, "It's me, Grandma. It's Matt." Ooh! Because like her dementia had progressed to the point where she didn't know who Matt was. And that really brought back, some memories for me, because it's just like when one of your loved ones has dementia, you have to reintroduce yourself all the time. And sometimes people get frustrated with having to reintroduce themselves. But it's just, with my grandfather, I got to the point where I just was like, "Hey, granddaddy," I didn't even reintroduce myself no more because it was hurtful. And I didn't want to make him feel like he didn't know who I was. So I just was like, "Hey, granddaddy." And if he didn't know, I knew that he didn't know, but I didn't make him feel like he didn't know, if that makes sense. Whew. And that other time, Julie had been on Eric because Julie had got she had got an offer to come and be dean of admissions at a college in Philadelphia. And I didn't like that Julie felt like she had to beg Eric, or she even felt like she couldn't even have a conversation with him about it because he would not participate in the conversation because he was so set in his ways. And it was hard, when they sat down and had that conversation with Matt and Julie about what it takes to be married and all these things that he was naming. And Julie was just, sometimes it's funny how a person can see somebody else's situation just as clear, and then they got their own situation going on, and like they got their own situation going on, and so they not really seeing what's going on, but they speaking to their situation. And so Tammy was just sitting there like, and she had to excuse herself because she felt herself getting upset, and she walked outside and she started crying. Oh my God. Oh my God. But I was happy because I knew then Eric had to have that wake up call on his own to see that he needed to leave Dylan and go support his wife in Philadelphia. She was like, "You can go get a job anywhere. You can go and be a football coach anywhere. But this opportunity that has presented itself to me, that don't happen every day." She said out of 18, and she reminded him, she said 18 years. How many times have I moved and uprooted our family for you to pursue your dream? I know that's right, Eric know. Let Eric know how many 11 years I sacrificed. Tammy said she sacrificed 18 years. Eric, you get in there and pack them bags up, buddy. Get in there and pack them bags up. Of course, Vince. I like Vince and I like Jess together. Vince and Jess had a awkward way of, getting together, because I felt like in season 4 they didn't really address why she had this disdain for Vince. But she ended up, I really like what they did with Jess's storyline. It was something new, and it was new age for 2010, and it was something that wasn't being done before. And so I feel like had the show continued on, that would have been a very interesting storyline. But since I'm guessing they knew ahead of time that the season was coming to a close at the end of season 5, they went ahead and, wrapped her story up. It being her getting into coaching as a female coach. Like, I like that because, I'm a girl's girl, period. I'm always going to cheer. I'm always going to root for my girls when it comes to sports or anything sports related, because I was a girl who was raised in sports. I grew up playing sports. I grew up with my life being in sports. And now as an adult, I'm about to reintroduce sports back into my regular life. And so I'm always rooting for females in sports, whether it's media, whether it's coaching, whether it's them being a player. I don't care what it is, because sports is a male-dominated field, and women do not get the respect. They don't get the looks. They don't get taken seriously. And just by her going up to Coach Taylor, and she started off small by just saying stuff to Billy. And then she heard Billy say something that she said to Billy, and she knew that she knew after that she was in. Then she went up to Coach and asked Coach could she shadow him. Then she was like, Coach, if you go to Dillon, are you going to take me to Dillon with you? And then when she told Coach she was leaving, Coach said, I could put in a word for you at your new school in Dallas. I know that's right. And all that came from her just getting her foot in the door by being an equipment manager. Sometimes you got to do what you don't want. Sometimes it ain't that she didn't want to do what she wanted to do, because she wanted to be the equipment manager. But sometimes it's all about getting your foot in that door. It's all about getting your foot in that door. And sometimes I just don't know why in life we just scared to take a leap. I'm even talking to myself. I don't know why I be scared to just take a leap, because sometimes you don't know what that leap gets you. Just put it out there. Just try. Just like I don't know how many of y'all gonna watch this video, and I don't care. But as long as I continue to put these videos out, it's gonna catch eventually. And I just like that storyline because it reminded me so much of like All-American, when I think at Beverly, during the guy's senior year, they had a female football coach. And in the beginning, when she first got there, they didn't want to take Coach Montez serious. But by the end of that year, Coach Montez was very respected and was respected by Billy Baker. But yeah, I like what they did with her storyline. I like how she was there for Vince. Vince went through a lot. I felt like Vince's storyline was typical, but it was needed. It was needed. I think that it was interesting that they did take the kind of, I hate to call it urban, because when we first started watching when I first started watching Friday Night Lights, majority of the football team at Dillon was white. And I think they said when Smashing was only on the team, it was only 20 black players. So for Coach Eric to go from that kind of team to a team where his team was majority black, and then you had a few white players, like you had Landry, you had Luke, you had Jabota Jr., you had, I don't want to call him a hippie, but I don't remember his name. But the white dude who was playing basketball in the beginning, like you had them, and then the bond, like the camaraderie that they had on the Lions was nothing like the camaraderie they had on the Panthers. I'm sorry, but I even feel like the Lions gave Eric a different outlook on just that team humbled him. And I'm not saying that Eric wasn't humble when he was coaching the Panthers, but when he coached the Panthers, he had everything that he needed at his disposal. When he got to the Lions, he didn't have that. And that was something that I thought was interesting, because I was just like, why would the writers, take that turn? But I felt like, the turn wasn't bad. Sometimes when you watch a show, you don't necessarily be in agreement with the direction in which the show is going. And I wasn't necessarily, I ain't gonna say against the turn that they took for Coach Taylor to go to Dillon. Because I was just like, he had a good thing going. Why would they take him from Dillon and then put him on East Dillon and then not even develop the story between Dillon Panthers? Like, it's just like Dillon Panthers got to this high thing. They had this whole thing with JD and Joe. I mean, to the point where it kind of pushed Matt out the door. For us to get to this point, JD and Joe is a non-factor, in the words of Evelyn Lozada, a non-factor. And then we get to East Dillon, and it's all about Vince and Luke. And I was just like, that's wild. Sidebar, I do still like the fact that they made mention of Smash. Just because the characters left the show and was no longer on the show, they still had little innuendos. I don't know if innuendos is the word, but they still had little reminders throughout the show of the people who was before them. Like when Tyra wasn't there, Landry mentioned Tyra. When Lala wasn't there, Buddy mentioned Lala. You know what I'm saying? And Lala came back, Tyra came back. Like, for example, when Street even came back. Like, Street came back, come to find out, Street ended up getting married. He married the waitress, the one who he had the baby with. He ended up marrying her. We didn't see it, we didn't know, but he came back home just for a quick little 30-second pan. He said that, he was now an official agent. He had some clients. Life was going well for him in New York, and I was glad to hear that, because we got to at least see the transition of the older characters out with the new. Now, let me tell you something. One thing that Friday Night Lights did was they introduced them new characters, and they gracefully, it was like a beautiful merge. Like, that's one thing that shows have to learn how to get right. They did that right, and I like that. Because just because, some characters have been on for the show for a while, eventually the characters' plot lines, especially when you're dealing with school or teens, whether it's high school or college, you got to be able to introduce them new characters and fade them old characters out once y'all don't have no more story left for them characters. And another show who did that really well was Degrassi. Degrassi did that really well. Different World did it really well. And I'm saying Friday Night Lights did it very well. They introduced the new characters because it's important for the establishment. You have to get your audience familiar with the new characters that's coming in. We got introduced to Jess. We got introduced to Luke. We got introduced to Vince. We got introduced to Becky. You know what I'm saying? Who else? We got introduced to Tinker. You know what I'm saying? We got introduced to the JD. But it was along the lines of me merging them out with Matt, with Street, with Riggins, with Smash. You know what I'm saying? So we got to see that. And I like the fact that they still show like the success of Smash. Even though we didn't see what happened to Smash because the writer's strike happened in between the seasons that Smash was in and out. But, which I didn't necessarily agree with either, but I still followed the story. Smash ended up getting a scholarship at Texas A&M You know what I'm saying? And was doing well. And they even showed like him his games on TV and everything. I just like that. It was done very well. One thing I also noticed, I won't hear for Buddy Garrity, but Buddy Garrity was windmilling all 5 seasons of his all 5 seasons of his Friday Night Lights life. Like Buddy ended up losing the dealership. But I guess with the selling of the dealership, he ended up owning Buddy's bar or whatever. He ended up becoming full-time parent to Buddy Jr. because Buddy Jr. was just not. It won't working for Buddy Jr. in Cali like with his mom and his mom's new husband. I guess the daughter was all right. They ain't never say nothing about her, and she ain't come visit Buddy. But Buddy Jr. wasn't doing good, so Buddy Jr. was in trouble. But Buddy Senior with Buddy Jr. right in his shape. Got him out there on that football field because he knew football could give him the discipline that he needed. I like the fact that they took a different angle, even with the humbling of Coach Taylor. Coach Taylor came from, I think every year Coach Taylor went to state. Even if he didn't win state, he went to state. And so even with that, I think they won a ring their first year. Yeah, because I think they won. The second year they lost with state. The third year when Tim Riggins was a senior, they won. And then I think after Tim Riggins left, I think Matt and Tim was the same year. Tim got a ring though. So I think they won at least 2 rings. And then he got a third one. No. They won 1 ring. That's right. They won 1 ring. And then he won 1 with East Dillon. And then Buddy said if you come back to Dillon with the super team, you can win your 3rd ring in 6 years. And they'll be able to say that's history. So yeah, he won 2 rings. He won 1 with Dillon and 1 with East Dillon. But they went to state every year. They won the state. They won 1 ring. I think Smash was there. But anyway, I said all that to say this. The first year at Dillon, East Dillon was struggling and they was 2-8. But they was rebuilding. And so when they got to East Dillon, that second year, it was on. I think they had only lost 1 game that whole season. You know, they did a lot of them football games was just like how it was on Swagger, where you felt like, oh my God, the game is on the line every time. I ain't gonna say the game had me stressed, but it definitely had me on the edge of my seat, especially that last game. And Friday Night Lights Riders, y'all wrong for that. That last pass that Vince threw, we ain't get to see it. Y'all merged it with his new life. Oh, I was mad at y'all. I like that y'all did that because that was fire. But I wanted to see Vince complete the pass. I need to know who was in the touchdown zone. One thing that was not on my bingo card either for season 5. Y'all sent Luke to the service. I just knew Luke was going to play football. I thought he wasn't going to go to that school because he said he didn't like that school like that. But I thought with them winning state that he would have another offer. But he didn't. He ended up going to the service. And so that just comes to show you, like, ball be life, bro. Ball be life for a lot of students, for a lot of players. Ball be life, but sometimes something that you dedicate your all to, sometimes you gotta hit the remix button because it don't work out for everybody. Only a few go down that path to all the way. But he had a plan. He knew he didn't want to go to school. So what did he do? He went to the service. And it was so touching seeing him give his little ring to Becky because, you know, him and Becky had history. And it took a long time. I thought Becky was going to never open up to Luke because I was like, girl, give Luke a chance. Luke is a good guy. Like, Luke won't like, you know, some of the other dudes who were just running through women. You know what I'm saying? Luke was a good guy. He always liked Becky, even from I talked about it in season 4. Even when him and Becky had the pregnancy, and you know he was trying to be there for Becky. Becky had to figure her feelings out because she was in love with Tim Riggins, but Tim Riggins never wanted her. It was a little blurry sometimes. But Tim Riggins never wanted her. He never went after her. Mindy getting pregnant with twins was not on my bingo card either, because she had just, I'm just glad that Billy got a job as coach, because I was like, I don't want to go to the landing strip no more at this point. I just, no. You a whole married woman with a kid. Some things you just gotta let it go. You just gotta let it go. Oh, I cannot not talk about Scooty Pooty. Okay, for y'all who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about Vince Daddy. He was Khadijah's boyfriend on Living Single, but they called him Scooty Pooty because, that was their pet names for each other. Scooty Pooty, I was mad at you, all right? Because that boy gave you a chance. You hurt his mom and had his mama strung out there on that street candy. Vince was in trouble. He almost got his life. His life was on the line almost, because he was dibbling dabbling in the street trying to provide for his mama, because his mama was out there. He done took money from a street guy and put his mama through rehab, and the dude came back. It was... Y'all put that man through the ringer, all right? For you to come back, you stopped showing up. First of all, you could have cost Vince all his scholarship stuff, taking that stuff for them coaches. You just thought you knew what you was doing. You messed up. You were going behind the coach back. You was doing a lot, talking about, and Vince trusted you. You done made that boy head big. He done lost his teammates' trust. His girlfriend broke up with him. You was doing a lot, Scooty Pooty. Just for you to stop coming, you start bringing alcohol to you. She is a recovering addict. You promised Vince that you was not going to bring no substance in the house, Scooty Pooty. Why did you do that? And then the boy he gave you a chance, for heaven's sake. That boy gave you a chance. He put his trust in you. And you was out here beating down doors, drinking, getting drunk. How could you? I was glad to see him at that game, because Coach Taylor was going to have him, all right? Because Coach Taylor, let me tell you something. I don't think Coach Taylor had a bond with no other player like he did Vince. I don't know. Vince opened his eyes. All them boys opened their eyes, especially after they had their records put online because of the rivalry game between Dillon and East Dillon. Had their records up there trying to embarrass them. Ooh, child. This season was good. I'm sad. I'm sad that Friday Night Lights. I'm pretty sure it's a whole lot of other stuff that happened during season 5 that I probably missed and that I probably really want to talk about real bad. But Friday Night Lights was a good show. I see the hype now. I see why y'all was so, oh my God. It is way better than, I don't want to even go there, but Friday Night Lights is that girl. I'm not even going to hold you. Dog, now I got to find me something else to watch. Because we still like, even with the people coming off strike, the actors are still on strike right now. But even with, oh God. Y'all probably ain't gonna see this video till next week because season 4 is supposed to come out this week. But oh my God. Even if the people come out, even if the writers are already off strike, but if the actors come off strike, it's still gonna be a while before we get content. So I'm still gonna have to watch other shows the whole time. But Lord have mercy, Jesus, Friday Night Lights was a good show. It was a good show, Savannah. I hope y'all like my Friday Night Lights series. If you haven't already, Friday Night Lights is on Peacock. It is on Hulu. You better watch it for the yank it down, because y'all know the streamers got the yank down spirit now. They be yanking everything and canceling everything, yanking it all down. But yeah, y'all, that's all. Curly K919. Stay tuned. If you haven't already, get into my movie reviews, okay? I got a couple sports movie reviews. Get into my All-American playlist. Get into my All-American Homecoming playlist. Get into my Swagger playlist. Get into my Grownish playlist. Just hop into the playlist, child. Hop into the playlist, child. Because I got content. And I'll be back with more. I can't wait till TV is back on, y'all. But like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with more. This is